Hello, hello, hello. Yes, we're back, and we apologise for being away. Uh,
We've been busy.
We've been busy. We've had illness in the family, in one of the families, and yeah, I've not been well. I've felt down, like the 19 song. I've had na 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 coronavirus. I haven't really. I've been fine. There isn't any coronavirus in my area. Not sure about Chinatown.
I think we're corona-free.
We are corona-free at the moment, but obviously next week's show could be apocalyptic. Could be the only people left without corona. Hello, hello, hello. This is the greatest car show on your radio. The program without pictures. It's the Thinking Drivers podcast. Yes, we return with yet another show banging on about cars, motors, and any form of transport that takes your fancy, from a snowmobile to a skateboard and everything in between. But what sets us apart from the rest is this is a properly an everyman's show. There is total meritocracy here. There ain't no reviews about the new Ferrari or the new M3 or even the new Rolls Royce. This show is for people, for the people, and quite literally by the people. Two people, my colleague and myself, are the most dangerous revolutionaries who aim to bring affordable cars to everyone across the globe. So, viva la revolución, el jefe, and let's get on with the show. This week, we have all the news that's fit to print in the car news. We're going to look at some great driving roads across the world and lost highways, from roads in Romania to motorways in Madagascar. And of course, it wouldn't be the car show on your radio without me delving into what we have to offer in the way of correspondence in the mailbag. And also this week, we're going to offer a young man from North London the chance to walk away with his body weight in cans of lager. Yes, Car-Boyz quiz this week is entitled Down the Boozer, because, of course, where would the great British institution, that is the pub, be without the traditional pub quiz? Our take on it is definitely has a vehicular flavour to go along with those salty bar snacks, drunken brawls in the car park, and casual sex in the disabled toilets. Come on, we've all been there.
Not all of us, Rich. Not all of us. Some of us are still waiting. Yes, this is Car-Boyz. We're back in town like Thin Lizzy. We're down at Dino's Bar and Grill. No, seriously, the show is motoring into 2020 with plenty on offer. Yes. And we're you fans of everything automotive. Yes, this week we once again delve into the past and find a rough diamond amongst the rubble in the classic car section. It'll be an affordable classic car that you can afford, a champagne car on beer money, if you will. This week is going to be something unusual. It is the Mazda Kazedos 6.
Ooh,
is the right answer. And as we mentioned earlier, we'll be wheeling out the mailbag and answering some of your queries from listeners. We've got the news and, as usual, a rant about motoring from my colleague. This week, the subject is, as we trailed on the previous show, is lithium. And that's not the 1991 hit by Nirvana. I am Simon Sigron.
I thank you.
Yes, I am Simon Sigron. Easy living, and I've been forgiven since you've taken your place in my heart. Easy living, I've been forgiven since you've taken my place in my heart.
And that is the first time since 1978 that someone has read out loud lyrics by Uriah Heep. I promise you that. And
Uriah Heep is big in Europe.
Are they? Very big in Thailand. Big in Southeast Asia. They like classic rock from the 70s. Yes, I believe Slade are big in Europe as well.
Fantastic.
Classic rock bands. And I'm Richard Green, and chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiree. Our sweep is as lucky as he can be. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo. Good luck will rub off when I shake hands with you. Dick Van Dyke's British accent, very underrated, I do believe. He knew all the Cockney words, bloke, quid, rinky dinky do.
Exactly.
This is
Car-Boyz.
Yes, we're back. This is the part of the program where I wax lyrical about something that really grinds my gears. It could be cyclists, it could be 4x4 drivers, or it may be people who hog the middle lane on the motorway. To be honest, it's always going to be cyclists. Anyway, this week my rant, which could be described as the onset of middle age, is all about energy. It's not mine. I've got plenty of energy. I'm fueled by beer pasties and a hatred for controlling parking zones. And this week I'm looking at how we power cars, where we get our energy from, whether it will be sustainable, and how will it be environmentally friendly. Now, we've mentioned on the podcast before, electric cars. What's the acronym? EVs, electric vehicles. Yeah, those.
Plug-in electric vehicles.
EVs. They've been on the rise the past 2 to 3 years. More and more of us are buying electric cars, and the electric car makers such as Tesla now have individual share prices, to rival GM and Ford. But what we're not taking into account is the way in which we produce energy to power those electric cars, and more importantly, the way in which we store the energy to be used to drive those electric powered vehicles or EVs in the 21st century, let alone the 23rd century, where, of course, we know Buck Rogers lives. Back in the 1980s, everybody over 40 is going, what are you talking about? Back in the 1980s, batteries were big, chunky things filled full of acid and lead, and they didn't hold much charge. Now, since the millennium, we've been utilizing a new form of battery, which uses rare earths such as lithium and inium to store, not an altium, thank you, a lithium, inium, to store the power. These batteries last longer, hold more charge, and despite what you think about battery life of your smartphone, this would not have been possible 20 years ago. So these rare earths are saving our skins and taking technology, smartphones, iPads, computers, and now electric cars, into a green, clean new century, which, like a David Bowie album, sounds all hunky-dory, and one should raise a glass of organic wheat beer in celebration. But, like Beyonce, it's a big but, these are rare earths that power all our technology, which we increasingly rely on for most technology. And I hate to tell you, they're not sustainable, are they? Well, in short, no. Most of the planet's rare earths are from China, and there are claims that Chinese reserves of indium, as opposed to autium, will be gone within the next 10 years, with almost all the rare earths deposits disappearing by the year 2040. Even more common components of electric cars, such as aluminium, or aluminium, and as the British say, will be in short supply by the end of this century, with aluminium deposits running dry by the year 2100, and even sooner for deposits of aluminum. Although we need to, I have to do something for the Americans. Although
Obviously.
obviously, we need to think not in terms of running out of, but becoming scarcer and harder to mine out of the ground. Now, a new source have been found of rare earths has been found in Mexico, right in the middle of drug cartel country. Good luck digging that out of there without a machine gun and a tattooed bodyguard called Jesus. Now, when I was a child, many, many years ago, I was told oil reserves would run out by the year 2000. Well, here we are, 20 years later, and we're being told it's going to be 2050. I can guarantee that by the time we get there, it'll be another 50 years before they, in quotation marks, run out. Again, they don't actually run out. They just become harder and harder to find and drill for. And as environmentalists tell us, oil is unsustainable. Well, if oil is the example they set, then so are rare earths. So if we are running out of things that make lithium batteries, then lithium batteries are not sustainable, even if they are powered by the wind or the tears from polar bears, because we're going to run out of the stuff we put inside them to make them work. The big thing here to take on board is that technology will move at a pace to replace things that we're running out of. And we'll just find new ways to make batteries work and make lithium go further. And we'll find new ways to make cars run. And maybe, just maybe, we'll find a new way to make oil as sustainable as it can be and not a pollutant to the environment. So in 30 years' time, petrol-driven engines could be the most environmentally friendly things on the planet, and wind power will be the most polluting. Just remember that when you buy an electric car. I'm afraid it isn't sustainable. Its battery will eventually die, and you'll need to buy a new one. So please, one and all, stop virtue signaling, or even signaling, when you buy a new electric car, and just admit your Tesla is just as unsustainable as my 1948 Land Rover, and I'm going to take a lot of heat for this. And not quite as cool, is it?
Well, the problem is, the clue's in the name. It says rare earth. Rare being the word.
So they're rare. Now, I had an interesting discussion with somebody the other day about nuclear power, and their argument was that, the nuclear power's got a lot of bad press with Fukushima and Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island, and yeah, those are terrible things, and it produced nuclear waste. But he said, he said to me, well, nuclear waste is terrible because it has a half-life of 20,000 years. And I said, wow, that's awful. He said, no, mercury doesn't have a half-life, and that's what goes into a lot of solar panels. So if we fill the planet with solar panels that have a shelf life of 20 years currently, then surely we're going to have these massive deposits of mercury in solar panels that we need to get rid of. So it's just moving the problem from
one
point
thing
A
to another. Yeah.
to point B. And the guy I was talking to has got a PhD from Cambridge. So I'm not talking to a complete idiot. And his
You didn't
argument,
find him at the bus stop. You did
I did,
actually.
yeah, he wasn't picking cigarette ends up at the bus garage asking me for change. No, he has got a PhD from Cambridge. And he also said to me a lot of the things he found with electric cars where you are moving one problem from a problem to the town to a problem at a coal, although there aren't any coal-fired power stations left, gas-fired power stations, nuclear power stations. So just moving the problem from point A to point B, it becomes less visible, but it still is a problem.
Because
go on.
I was just going to say, because if you think of your phone or something like that, the battery life on that after probably about 2 or 3 years goes a bit wonky donkey anyway. So
it depends if it's an Apple and you update it. The battery life strangely goes down even further.
Exactly.
Less said about better. Should we have some news?
Yes, let's have some news. Let's have some news music. And first off, this week in more electric car news, Kia and Hyundai have invested more than £80 million in a London-based electric vehicle, EV manufacturer, called Arrival, which, if you didn't know, was also one of the albums by ABBA. Making it one of the UK's most valuable startups. Through the new partnership, the Korean car makers plan to introduce competitively priced small and medium-sized electric vehicles and other products for logistics, on-demand ride hailing and shuttle service companies using Arrival's scalable EV platform. Arrival says its skateboard-style platform, that sounds cool, can be used for a range of bespoke new EVs across different categories. Its suitability for commercial vehicles applications will allow Hyundai and Kia to expand their EV range beyond passenger cars such as the e-Niro, not Robert De Niro, but the e-Niro and the Kona Electric. It will also reduce the average CO2 output of the manufacturer's fleets ahead of tightening European emissions regulations, which come into force in 2021. Arrival was founded in 2015, but hasn't widely publicised its actions. That's a worry, isn't it? It has 800 employees working in a series of innovative small footprint micro factories in 5 countries that build vehicles to order to serve communities in the surrounding area. This is what I think is cool. The company Gen 2.0 EV is electric van aimed at companies in urban areas. Technical details remain unconfirmed, but it's claimed to have a range of 300 miles and a payload of 4,250 kilograms. It's expected to be priced from £35,000 when it enters production in 2021. No news of jobs, but we're sure they're going to top.
I think there's a typo there.
Yes, it's like it's fine, but we're sure it's going to be all fine. But we've got some pictures of these. I don't think we've posted them up yet.
They need to go on the website. The first one looks like Darth Vader's helmet, and the second one is a Royal Mail van that looks like my son drew it. And I'm trying to find Postman Pat and his black and white cat, Jess.
It's a bit strange. If you can imagine a single-decker bus that's just been chopped off at the cab.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, but I think this is where I think electric vehicles really, if you've got something that's permanently going round and round in a circle.
Yes.
Like post vans. I mean, you can always pick post vans up at auctions really cheap because they have really, really low mileage. I mean, they've done awful. The posters have done terrible damage to them. So I'd never suggest you actually buy an ex-postal van. If it's a diesel, it'll be completely knackered because it's all the filters will be bunged up because the thing's never got above 60 miles an hour. But for jobs like that, local deliveries, electric vehicles probably are the way forward.
Well, if you think about it, years ago when we were young, we used to have milk floats that were electric powered. Which used to drive around early morning.
And then you sort of hear that with the milk bottles in the back. And, you know, if you were a naughty boy like me, you'd go and nick a bottle of milk off the back and run off.
Exactly, yeah.
I think our milkman, we still have a milkman here.
Do you?
But like 3:30 in the morning.
But
Really?
it's not an electric vehicle, though.
Sorry?
I bet it's not an electric
vehicle.
vehicle.
Oh, it is. Though. Yeah, because I followed him once and he did about 2 miles an hour down the road, which was perfect for the 20-mile-an-hour zones that we've currently got in the area. Yes, it was, because we have a dairy at the top of our road.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So actually, it makes it sound more rural than it is. It's pretty industrial. But yes, we'll put those pictures up because they look ridiculous. Right, and in Meet the New Boss, same as the old boss news, the highly anticipated 8th generation Volkswagen Golf GTI will be revealed at the Geneva Motor Show in March. Volkswagen have a grand total of 4 hot Golf models in dealers before the end of 2020, with the R going on sale in a few months after the GTI, the diesel GTD, and the plug-in hybrid GTE. Following the reveal of the GTI and the GTD at the Geneva Motor Show, the R version will be shown in July at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. The transformation from regular Golf to GTI is likely to be subtly handled as previous variants. It will include dual exit tailpipes. Ooh. Hang on. Red brake calipers. Ooh. Chunky air intakes.
Ooh.
And a body kit extending around the lower portion of the car. I might have to excuse myself in a minute. A reversal of the original plans, Wolfsburg has decided not to take a more radical switch to hybrid power. Instead, the 8th generation of the Golf GTI set to stick with much of the hardware that has made the 7th generation model such a success, both critically and commercially. Let's face it, VW Golf, like the Porsche 911, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I would say, arguably, because I know you're a Ford guy, probably one of the hot hatches ever made.
Ever, yes, ever. Absolutely right. Although now I think it's put on a bit of weight. It's carrying a bit of weight.
Yes,
it's a bit
middle-aged spread. But I think if you were going to buy a car and you're 21, or you've got a family and you're 41, or you're retiring and you're 61, the GTI will do everything.
Yeah.
You get it with. Do they come with 4 doors? The GTI,
I think they do. Yeah, no, I think
you
can do. Yeah.
Can get it with 4 doors.
Yeah,
it's absolutely perfect car for almost anything. And I know if you're listening in America, you'll go, yeah, but it's a compact. I had an argument with a guy I was working with from Utah. He was pointing to me at the VW Scirocco. Oh, it's a really cute small car. And I went, it's not a small car. It's not a compact. It's sort of medium range car. Yeah, but it's a small car. No, it's a small car if you live in Utah with huge wide roads. If you live in central London, you cannot get a 1954 Cadillac down the road, let alone into a parking space. So the Scirocco is sort of a medium-sized car. It's certainly not a micro car or a super mini. I think the GTI, beautiful-looking car. Golf always a little bit too expensive, but the driving experience, motoring experience, very, very sexy car. So yes, I would definitely encourage everyone to at least. My brother had the top of the range Golf in 2000, and let me get it right because before he had babies, so 8 years ago, and he had the anniversary one with the tartan seats, and the
golf ball for the gear stick.
He didn't think his wife was pregnant, so he went and bought this really hot hatch. But he didn't sell it for ages, and he kept it, and it was really practical. It was still really practical.
Yeah.
Second child came along, and he bought a people carrier, and we won't talk about the fact he gave up on life.
Oh dear. Should we move from cars to making the general public walk? Because in the make the general public walk, because there isn't any public transport news.
Yes.
The council in Britain's second capital, that's Birmingham, are tabling plans to stop private cars driving through its city centre in order to help achieve its long-term aim of becoming carbon neutral by 2030. According to a recent drafted transport plan, the council intends to limit the ability of private cars to access the heart of Birmingham by banning through trips, as well as increasing pedestrian areas, reducing car parking facilities. We know what happens when you do that, and rerouting the A38 to an upgraded ring road.
Oh,
Birmingham. Yes, Birmingham is just one of several cities looking to clamp down on private cars. In November, Bristol City, if you were listening to the show, approved the first UK ban for diesel cars, restricting them to entering the city centre during peak times, while Oxford plans to introduce a zero emissions zone. Try saying that after you've had a few drinks. Charging non-electric cars.
Do you mean an ULEZ?
Yes. ULEZ. Charging non-electric cars £10 a day to enter the city centre by the end of the year. Birmingham's own clean air zone, modelled on London's recently introduced ULEZ, ultra-low emission zone, will be rolled out later this year. In addition to limiting cars, Birmingham is planning on a number of quote-unquote big moves to improve its transport networks. Road space is set to be reallocated to prioritise public transport, and the city is also investing in improving its train lines. This is not good. We've talked about this before, about reducing the spaces to park on the high street, which means our shop centres, our small businesses all closed down because there's nowhere to park. Then you're just pushing the problem outside to just outside, sort of like on the edge of the city centres. This is bad news.
Listen, Birmingham, I grew up on the outskirts near Birmingham. Birmingham's a great city, lots to do. Very clean, exciting city. It's been completely renovated. All the old disused canal network that was awful has now got bars and restaurants, and there's fantastic places to go out. They've renovated the old pubs. They've brought all those back. You do this, I guarantee you're going to kill the centre of the town. I remember Birmingham 30 years ago, and you did not go into the centre of Birmingham at night. It was a no-go zone. The only reason you went into the pubs was if you're a member of the provincial IRA and you wanted to buy an Armour-like rifle. It was a horrible place. Go into the centre of Coventry, which is, if you're listening to America, it's our version of Detroit, and it's next door to Birmingham.
Absolutely.
And they pedestrianised that in the 1950s after World War II. And nobody goes into the centre of the city centre. Is a bit of a ghost town at night because they've pedestrianised it. Once you've got the traffic flowing, you don't get gangs of kids hanging around. People feel a bit more safer because they know people in cars can see what's going on. I guarantee if you do this, there's going to be no follow-up with public transport. There's no public transport in Birmingham. There's buses. That's pretty much it. There's no tubes. There's no underground. There's no subway. There's no tram system. There's just a few trains. Yeah. And where you're going to put extra trains, I don't know, because there's roads and there's a really good road network that works. I think you're putting the cart before the horse. Get the people there. Start putting on more buses. Make buses cheaper. Start putting on more free electric buses, trolley buses, trams. Go and look at places like Brussels, Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Berlin. And go, nobody drives because the public transport's so damn good, and make it so cheap. And I know you may remember Fares Fair. So Fares Fair was the London initiative the GLC brought about in the late 1970s to early 1980s. And I have a vivid memory of it being 2p for a child, 2 pence to ride on the tube. I'm too young to remember it going on. My second cousin he's a lot older than me. Said you could not get on the buses. It was rammed all the time, and there were no cars on the road because you made the public transport so cheap. Ergo, I drove the other day to a job in West London that's 8 miles away, and I paid for parking because it was less hassle and round about the same price, a little bit less in petrol than me going on public transport, which cost me £6.80. To go about 8 miles.
Wow.
And get back. And actually, I saved myself half an hour on the journey home. So this is what I'm going to be doing on Monday. I'll do that.
That's working out to almost £1 a mile.
Yeah.
Just under. We're talking about what, 80p a mile, something like that?
Yeah. So, look, you make it really good and the people will come. Build the field and the people. Wasn't that a Kevin Costner movie? Build it and they will come. Indeed, build it and they will come. But don't kick everybody in the nuts and say, well, the public transport will come, but we need government funding. Oh, well, you've screwed us. We're only in cars because there is no alternative. We don't want to be in them. I've just come back tonight from West London from doing a gig in a TV studio and had to sit in traffic because we're all in cars because the public transport's so cat. And breathe deeply. And finally, in really, no one will remember these cars in 20 years' time. Car news. The winners of this year's What Car of the Year awards have been announced in London to a metropolitan and non-car driving audience, no doubt, that quite frankly couldn't care less. You should have booked Leicester services on the M1 for the awards, not bloody London. The Ford Puma has been crowned Car of the Year 2020.
Nice. Yeah.
The model praised by judges for being fun to drive and cleverly packaged and well priced. Now, hang on. This is the Ford. This is not the old Ford Puma. Is this a 4x4?
It is. It's a sports utility vehicle now,
Okay.
but it's got shades of the old Ford Puma in there.
Nice.
In its looks.
The Ford, the first Ford to use the Puma name in almost 20 years. Here we go. The model also won the small SUV category, seeing off competition from models including the Audi Q2 and the Skoda Kamiq. I'm
also guessing they're probably also the same vehicle, aren't they? Audi, Skoda.
The same car. Yeah, Audi and Skoda. And the Seat.
Yes.
Okay, here you go. List of winners. Hang on, let me give you a drum roll. Best performance car: Audi Romeo Giulia Quadra Foglioli, which is the pizza I always order at my local Italian restaurant. Oh, that's cool. I like that. It's an exciting car. Best sports car: the Alpine A00 Pure or Pure. That's nice. Alpine, nice car.
Yeah.
Best luxury SUV: Audi Q7. Okay, I'm getting slightly bored. Audi best coupe: Audi TT. I'm falling off. Best plug-in hybrid: BMW 3 Series. Best executive car: BMW 3 Series. Best luxury car: BMW 5 Series. Best MPV: Citroen Berlingo. I'm really falling asleep now. A Citroen Berlingo, a car for a man who's given up. Best small SUV, Ford Puma, as we mentioned. Best hot hatch, Honda Civic Type. I'm getting more excited now. Nice. Honda Civic Type R GT, which is a sexy looking car.
Yes.
Now they've screwed us again. Best value car, Kia Picanto, also known as Best Piece of Crap Car Award. That's the Kia Picasso. The best family SUV, Range Rover Evoque, but only for people that are 5'4" because it's so low. I'm sorry, I'm going to bring us back to the Citroen Berlingo. It totally is like the Citroen Picasso. It is the car that you buy if you don't care anymore. You don't care about your life. You got 8 kids. You need to fit them into an SUV. And then
wasn't the Berlingo partly their van or something that they just made into an
MPV?
MPV?
Oh, it's everything. It's a bread van. It's an MPV. It's a camper van. What it does really well is if you attach a hose onto the back of it in your garage and you put the hose around the window and stick it through the window, wind the windows all up and play some soothing, easy listening jazz, then you will slip off into the warm embrace of death very easily, and that's for you.
Kids, don't do it. Don't do it, kids.
No, don't do it. Don't. I'm not advising that. Do not do that. I'm just saying that's what could happen if you bought that car. Best sports SUV: the Porsche Macan, or the best car named after a Southeast Asian place, or Let's Go Get Some Food. Best hybrid: Toyota Corolla. The best pickup truck: the Volkswagen Amarok. Best reader award went to the Land Rover Defender. I'm just so bored. Look, okay, dropping off asleep. Really, these car awards aren't worth the paper they're written on. No one will remember how great the Kia Neo was in 2050. They'll be thinking about how great the new Land Rover was, or how the new Nissan GTR was the best car going. A car will only show its validity as a car in 20 years. You'll look back 20 years ago as what the car you're going to talk about. Look back 40 years ago, and it won't be the car that won the Car of the Year award. It'll be the car that is reliable, the car that's exciting, the car that stylistically still looks revolutionary today. I bet the Citroen DS did not win Car of the Year award, 1964 or 1950, whenever it came out. And by the way, I saw a Citroen SM the other day.
Oh, S&M, always good.
Very excited. I think that's like the third Citroen SM I've ever seen, which is the futuristic version of the DS with, I believe, the Maserati engine.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
Very, very sexy. Right. Hang on a second. We got some music coming in that might signal what we're going to be all about. Here we go. Oh yeah. God, this pianist sounds a bit drunk, doesn't he? Listen. It's a bit Les Dawson, this chap. He does. Has he been on the wine? Right, hang on, let's stop that.
Yeah, probably. It could be French.
It's the classic car selection. Over to you.
Well, it's funny. It nicely segued from, are any of those cars ever going to be on this feature in 20 years' time when we're doing this feature in 20 years' time? So,
I want to be retired. I don't want to still be working.
We will. Because
Really?
that's the way forward, yes.
Oh, God.
We've got to do what our fans want. So, it would only take us... We still wouldn't be retirement age. So
yeah, we'll still bang it out in half, and I'll be ear trumpets by then.
Exactly. There was a time when if you were looking for a Japanese sports saloon, which was actually prestigious, you probably wouldn't find one which had the status of a BMW or an Audi, because they were a contradiction of terms. The Germans offered class, the Japanese offered value, but the Mazda Zedos or Kazedos 6 changed all of that when it was launched in 1992. Thanks to relatively small numbers brought to the country, it makes it a great investment. Sales were limited to just 1,500 cars each year early on, making the second-hand Zedos 6 models sought after on the used car market. The result being that their residual values also hold up reasonably well. The Kazedos 6 was the car which was launched by the brand in 1992. Mazda attempted to break into the BMW, Mercedes, Audi dominated compact executive saloon sector. Initially, though, only the 2-litre V6 was offered in standard or the plusher SE forms. A year later, however, the visually identical single specification 1.6 4-cylinder engine was added. In June 96, there were mild revisions to the lineup, which added the relatively affordable sports V6 model, which had spoked alloy wheels. A year later, both this car and the entry-level 1.6 were withdrawn, and the entire range disappeared quietly from the Mazda price list in 1999. When it was launched, the Mazda 6, Kazedos 6, not the Mazda 6, which is currently out now, it was the first Japanese manufacturer to recognize the importance that customers were attaching to the question of image, and the first to act accordingly. The company described the Kazedos 6 as a car that is genuinely different from the rest, which seems reasonable enough when you saw it in the metal, because it had an ultra-low front end with subtle curves, flush-fitting glass. It almost looked like a coupe. Mazda suggested to some customers they would prefer to look at the car as a four-door sports coupe, because you couldn't fail to ignore it either way. The boot was huge, the cabin was airy and inviting, and the handling was taut and responsive. In this respect, it helped that the manual gear change was also excellent and the power steering quick and communicative. Equipment levels were extensive in the plusher versions, as you might expect: alloy wheels and dog brakes, tinted glass, electric headlamp leveling, central locking, front fog lights, powered sunroof. Are you eating? Windows and mirrors were all included. For example, on the V6 Sports model. What should you look for? Well,
what should you look for?
In these, you should look for electrical faults and minor bodywork damage and trim damage. A full exhaust system will cost you around £1,080, which includes the catalyst. And the front and rear brake pads will cost you probably around £50 to £70. An alternator is around £285. Starter motor was around £235. So not too expensive. On the road, don't expect it to challenge the BMW 320i, because the gap is... it's not that big. It is quite good at handling. The Hiroshima-based manufacturer was particularly proud of this sophisticated 4-speed automatic gearbox, which automatically selects economy or sports mode depending on your mood. So make sure that the gear changes are all smooth, and the same computer enters in the conversation with the control in the engine unit, which will cut out the torque at the moment of change, which is all very technically advanced. Refinement is one of the key factors. Sculpted body lines, of course. So it also had impressive build quality. You could criticize the embossed plastic logo on the grille or on the steering wheel, but hey, it was pretty good. I looked online today and I found a 2-litre V6 version going for just £1,500.
Ooh! Oh, this is cheapest.
It's
real
cheap
end.
Cheap as chips.
I had to turn my mind back to the times. That was when Mazda was still good quality.
Yes,
I'm not sure they've maintained that quality.
I think you're right. They're also the cars that they've got now, the 2, 3, 4, and 6. I think are all based on Ford cars now as well.
I remember this car coming out. What is it called? I thought it was the Zedos.
It's Kazedos. Sorry, Kazidos.
Kazidos. So I mean, looking at these on, just looking at the images of them, very round, very, very 90s car.
Yes, little small tiny grille.
Yeah, I think that's going to come back. I think that's a look, certainly in America, that late 90s, early noughties cars, and that real roundness, everything was round. There was not a sharp angle, because we've had probably the last 10 years of everybody being obsessed by old 80s cars, MR2s and stuff like that. I think this is a look that's going to come back. I think get on board now. That's cheap. I bet you can still get things from breakers yards. You'll certainly be able to buy all this stuff now online at eBay. I mean, that's the place. Other online auction places are available. Yes, because we're not sponsored by eBay, but if they are, we will happily mention them every 2 seconds. You can buy stuff for them. People will send you exhaust systems. You can buy alternators online with guarantees and stuff like that. That sounds like a pretty good car to get hold of.
And also, it's Japanese as well. So if it does go wrong, it will be few and far between when it does go wrong.
Yes,
it's Japanese.
Yes, it's certainly not like. I mean, a 25-year-old BMW is going to be full of headaches. Not so much that car. Just because there's less to go wrong, and the stuff that does go wrong tends not to be electrical. And they were still making stuff. There was a lot of plastics on cars back then, but not in the engine bay. And that's the problem with motoring now. An awful lot of plastic in the engine bay that warps with heat over time.
Yes, because I think I was looking at my own car. The earlier versions had plastic thermostats.
Oh, nice!
And
that's
kind of
clever invention. Why
would you have a plastic thermostat housing when it's one of the hottest places in the engine?
Maybe so that you, as a customer, need to go back and buy a new one off the manufacturer. Can I just make that suggestion out
Probably,
there? Yeah. Right. So we're over-engineered Japanese car from the 90s. It's the wave of the future. Let's go and get one.
Absolutely.
Right. Let's have a bit of. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Rightio, it's time for Lost Highwaves, our feature where listeners email in the show and give us our favourite roads, their favourite roads even, and the reason they love them. Could be the perfect stretch of tarmac with no speed cameras where you open up the throttle and barrel down the highway. Alternatively, it could be a quiet country road that leads down to the coast. Whatever it is, let us know your perfect driving road. You can get in touch with the show. Email the Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com, car-boys@outlook.com. Available on Twitter at car-boys, boys always with a Z, at car_boys with a Z. Facebook, we are car-boys, boys with a Z, at car-boys, 4 Zs at the end.
I shall tell you, we've also now got an Instagram page.
Oh, have we? Oh, nice.
We have. Which you can find us at car-boys, and that's with 3 Zs because 4 Zs was taken.
God damn them. Is Instagram where people post pictures of their bits? Or am I thinking of another website?
No, that's Snapchat.
Okay.
We don't have one of those.
Ah!
But yeah, no, we're on Instagram, so
sorry, yes,
yeah, we'll be posting pictures of cars and things like that we see along the way. So, should we do our first one?
Yes, go for it.
Salome or Salome?
Salome,
I'm going to Salome. Writes from Israel. She says, "Shalom."
Hang on, she might be
she
from
says,
the other side. She might be from the other side of the wall. I'm not sure about the name.
We're going to go with that. She says the great driving road there is the Road 90, probably the lowest road in the world, Road 90, which actually runs the whole length of Israel from Kiryat Shimona. It's close enough.
Kiryat Shimona.
In the far north to Eilat in the far south is 100-kilometer stretch alongside the Dead Sea, the lowest place on Earth, the lowest road on Earth, and is closest. And the closest Israel is to the true West Coast USA style coastal highway. As it winds along following the shoreline of the Dead Sea with its overpowering smell of sulfur, which is from the salty water, and stark desert scenery to the other side. It is certainly a drive that won't be fast forgotten. On the journey, you can swim in the sea and partake of its healing waters.
Nice. Dead Sea salt.
Salomon, yes,
Salome.
Dead Sea.
So we're not so sure if it's yes, shalom or salam alaikum. Which side of the wall Salome is from? I'm not sure.
We're not taking. We just don't know.
We're not taking sides. I'm sure it's yeah. That sounds quite interesting. Always wanted to go.
100 kilometers as well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess a bit after a while, it's going to be a bit. Oh look, it's desert. Yeah.
The sea.
Yes, there's sea. We have another one from Arthur in Poland. A Brit lives. Hello, Arthur. Hello. He lives abroad in Gdansk and says his favourite drive is the coastal road along the Baltic Sea in the summer from, here we go, Kołobrzeg to Sopot.
Ooh, very good.
Kołobrzeg is a laid-back seaside hub with a peppering of old medieval remnants, a red brick basilica, the occasional Gothic church. It's still got some history. However, the beachfront is a beautiful lighthouse along the shore that will pull in the crowds. In the summer months, beer bars spill out onto the sands, and the Baltic gets packed with swimmers. Spa hotels offer oodles of sea therapy, whatever that is. Basically, you go from Kołobrzeg along the main highway out the town towards Leber, further along the coast on the 203. Leber has shimmering sandy beaches, long summer days spent in the salty breezes of the Baltic. Others will look forward to the fantastic phenomenon that is the shifting dunes, and I did say shifting, of the Solowinski National Park. From Leber, I'm afraid you've got to head to hell on the 213. You'll not find the devil there, though. Instead, most people flock to the long sandy beaches. A lot of beaches here, which run for miles as it juts out into the Baltic. Big red lighthouses overlook the bay. Bars bud with laid-back rhythms of summertime. Boats bob on the harbour. This is very written very well. After that, make a beeline for Sopot via the 216, a throbbing, lively town with the longest in Europe wooden pier. I would have thought it'd been Scarborough, but no, apparently Sopot has the longest wooden pier jutting out into the sea. Great place to party and sunbathe. Sounds like Arthur does a lot of drinking from town to town on this route. And he said it's packed full of Polish people on holiday. I thought he was going to say something else. The beaches are great. I've heard about this. My dad's girlfriend is Polish, and she says that Baltic stretch is barren in the winter, but in the summer it's lovely because it gets really hot out there and you get good weather. The sea's a little bit chilly compared to the Mediterranean, but she said great food, and I guess Poland relatively cheap for us coming from the UK. That sounds like quite a cool driving road. Hire a car, hang out.
Sounds good. Do like the Baltics as well. Lovely place. Lovely.
Fantastic. Cool.
Right.
Yes. I guess we're on to. Hang on. Yes, we're on to letters.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Well, I should say, if you want to get in touch with your favourite driving road, car-boys with a Z at outlook.com. Facebook car-boys with a Z at Car-Boyz 4 Zs. Twitter, car-boys at car_boys, always with a Z. And on Instagram.
Car-Boys with 3 Zs.
Okay, cool. And we promise we won't publish any pictures of people's parts. Okay, letters going to be answered in the mailbag right now. Steve from Redditch. All right, he's got he's on his first car. He's got a Polo 2005 Polo. He wants to know about tyres. When should he replace them? And what to look for when replacing them. So the official UK law is pretty much applies to the rest of Europe as well and the United States. The law requires car tyres to have a minimum tread depth of 1.6 millimeters in a continuous band around the central 3/4 of the tyre to help you judge how much tread you have on your car tyres. Manufacturers often mould tread bars at roughly 1.6 millimeters. You can get a tyre gauge, which I've got a little strip of plastic, which you can just sort of shove into the tread on your wheels to work out how much depth you've got left. You won't be able to see the whole of the tyre, though, unless you get it up on a hydraulic jack, or you get it and you've got somebody that's got a pit and they can have a look underneath. You could have a dodgy one with a ball patch. I would suggest go to a trusted, and I mean trusted because there's an awful lot of shonky ones out there. Go online, have a look at a website that gives good recommendations. Check a Trade, other websites are available. Get them to check all your tyres as well as the one you think's going bald. They will check overall tyre health as well and the state of your brakes. If you've got a car that's 2005 and it is it's 15 years old, even if the tyres have got tread, they're probably starting to crack. You need new tyres. I'd always go for new tyres, but I have also bought part worn from Europe before, and I've got a couple of years wear out. In fact, literally this week, just replaced a part worn tyre that I got bought in from Europe. My tyre guy is very knowledgeable. He's sort of third generation of tyres. I tell you how good he is. Mike Reed. Do you remember Mike Reed, the Comet?
Oh yeah.
He was also on EastEnders.
EastEnders, yeah.
Mike Reed was one of his clients.
Fantastic.
He sold me a part worn from Europe, and I've actually just got 2 years out of it, so that's pretty good.
I would have also been impressed if it was Mike Reed, the radio DJ, as well.
That's right, Mike Reed from BBC
275 and 285.
285, BBC Radio 1. Welcome to the Roadshow. Also, don't buy the most expensive tyres. He always tells me, unless you want to do a track day. He said, pretty much, are you going to go over 130 miles an hour? I went, nope. He said, then buy the cheapest tyres you can.
And incidentally, if you have got problems with your tyres, just check where they are wearing out. If they're on the shoulders, could be to do a tracking issue, could be to do with shock absorbers. London, where is he from? He doesn't Redditch. There's lots of speed humps all over the place, which could also knock out your tracking. So could be all sorts of issues relating to that. So it's always worth checking over things like joints and suspension while you're having that done. That's the good thing that my guy does. That's what he does. He checks everything else, tyre health. He'll tell you, you've got probably a couple of 1,000 miles left on your brake pads. He'll do everything for me, as well as pretty much. He won't do it, but he'll just give me advisories on what needs replacing. The amount of times I've turned up thinking I need one tyre and I've ended up having at least 2, sometimes all 4 replaced, because he's showing me, Jesus, these tyres are so knackered. What are you doing? If you live in Africa, Asia, or South America, don't worry. Drive until the white shines. Nobody gives a shit out there. Seriously, in Africa, nobody is going to give a shit if you've got no tread on your tyre. Fantastic.
Yes.
We now have an email. We have an email from Alan344 in Los Angeles. He's another British expat based out in Santa Monica.
Nice.
He drives a number of cars, a Lexus 300C, a Chevy Suburban SUV, but wants a quintessentially British car to remind him of home. I'm assuming he says, what if it breaks down?
Yes.
I'm guessing. Doesn't mind if it's classic or not. So we have no budget on this. We've not been told.
No. Yes. So my suggestion always without there is you're in California. You've got to have a soft top. I'm obsessed with the MGA, with the MGBT GT engine in. The soft top, the hard top of the MGA looks cack. The soft top in California on the PCH
would look great.
Oh, amazing! Alternatively, 1970s Rolls Royce. That's going to be incredibly expensive to maintain. Now, if it was me, I would say to him, I know he said I want a British car. I personally go for a Yank tank.
Really?
I would go for I'd go for a land yacht, an American Rolls Royce, Chrysler Imperial Crown, the Royal version. It's a beautiful looking car. They're about 20,000 for the top of the range. I've got a feeling they used to use whale oil on the leather, which is not very environmentally friendly.
Yes.
The engine in that car is bulletproof.
Fantastic.
They banned them in the 1980s they used to use them as stock cars because apparently if you look underneath, the actual chassis is girders. It's girders, and they just destroy other cars. And they've got all the aircon's amazing, electric windows, electric hood, electric everything. It's an over-the-top American experience, and I think personally that's what I would, if I was going to live in America, play to your strengths. But if you want something quintessentially British, maybe an MGA, MG. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, what was the car?
Mini.
I was just thinking that's Mini. Yeah, Mini's good. They do a convertible version of the Mini as well, so that's always worth doing. But I was thinking, what was the car that popped into my head? I can't remember what it was. It's in a Tears for Fears video, and I can't remember what it's called. Is it a Healy?
Hang on, Tears for Fears video. Oh, sorry. I thought I was thinking of the Rover SD in the.
Oh, that was.
Don't you want me playing the Human League video? Oh,
no, I think I'm thinking of that. Yes,
right?
That's the one.
Yes,
that would look good in California.
That also would be the Austin Healey 3000 would be the car, because the Healeys were marketed in America, so he's going to be able to get a left hooker, left-hand drive one, and they're going to have the classic car market. Actually, that's the car to go for. The Austin Healey, the Healey 3000.
Yes.
Which is a soft top, perfect for California. It's quintessentially British. I always think sort of a rotter should be Terry Thomas should be driving, going rather. I say, absolute shower.
You went all Leslie Phillips as well.
All Leslie Phillips, and you should be always wearing a cravat while driving it.
Yes. 100% endorse that.
Yes. I think I've got visitors to the studio. Hopefully they'll get me. Right. I haven't got dogs. That's children. I bring them up like wolves. They only bark and snarl. Okay, Keith and his wife live in Switzerland.
Hello, Keith.
Hello. I don't know what Swiss is for hello. Bonjour. Or Guten Morgen, Guten Haben, or Monti Bello or something Italian. It's no Swiss language. They want a small 4x4 SUV for the weekends to get up and down the Alps. Got to be a good city car, though, as they live in Geneva, small side streets. Well, I thought maybe a Fiat Modena is just to the south of Switzerland. A 4x4 Fiat Panda, designed for the Italian Alps. What could be more fitting? Cheaper, an old Subaru Justy. Small the Justy is a 4x4, but no, it's a four-wheel drive little town car. Suzuki Jimny. I quite like the Suzuki Ignis. Cute, old technology, but handles like a car, has high ground clearance. Jimny is a little bit prone to tipping over.
Jiminy.
Jim. My Cockney accent is pretty bad. Corbellini. What do you think?
No, I think that's it. I'm trying to think if Volvo do a small.
They used to. They used to do a.
They did like cross country, but it's not really an SUV, is it?
Didn't the Volvos? And they used to do a thing that looked like the back end had been cut off. It's sloping late 80s. Sort of. What was that? That they had the Volvo had.
Yeah.
Pop-up headlights.
Yes, I might do that for a classic car.
I think you should actually.
Yes.
Yeah, it looked like. It did look like somebody just removed. It looked like it's not dissimilar to the AMC Gremlin.
Yes.
It's like somebody had just hacked off the boot and go, there's a car. That's a compact. Not really, but I've got a feeling my cousin's husband had one.
Oh, they were good though. Pop-up headlights, looked like almost Italian at the front, and then someone just chopped it off at the back.
Chopped back, yeah. Probably not what he really wants. For small city, it's got to be an SUV. It's got to be a 4x4. I honestly think the Fiat Panda 4x4 is a good little car for doing what you want. Or Suzuki Ignis.
I think you can't go wrong with a Suzuki as well.
Yeah, exactly. Japanese bullet-proof.
Absolutely. I think that's what we're going to recommend. Should we do last letter?
Last one, yeah.
Finally, we've got Jenny. I hope this isn't her phone number or a bank sort code. Jenny 867-53-09. That's her bank account. She gets in touch.
Obviously, this is the song, isn't it? 8675309.
Which was it Tom Robinson? No, that was 2468. 24.
Now I'm going to have to think. No, it was 8675309. Was that the knack as well?
Possibly.
Jenny. Right now, I'm going to have to look it up. Go on.
She gets in. I assume it's a she. She gets in touch from London. She needs to commute into town, but can't afford the parking. What should she do? She lives in Gants Hill. I know for a fact at car parks for tube station, train stations, it's going to cost you at least £5 or £6 a day to park there, so that's not good. So that's obviously out. London's got quite nice cycle lanes, especially at this part of the world. So maybe a bicycle is probably the best thing.
Could be electric bike. Or she could just do what many Eastern Europeans do and just have a car with Hungarian plates and just drive around London with no tax, MOT, or insurance. I'm not saying that any of them do, but that's what you could do if you wanted to do it. I'm just thinking the song Jenny 8675309, Tommy Two-Tone. So Jenny, we like you. We can't really suggest anything. I think you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yes.
If you look, Gants Hill, not really London, is it? Is it officially Essex?
It's on the borders. It's got. I think
Gants Hill, just
Central Line.
Central Line.
Yeah.
Central Line. Suck it up and sit on the tube for an hour. If you want, I don't think there's any other Gants Hill. If she's got to come into town, I wouldn't cycle from Gants Hill. That's an awful long way to go.
We don't know where she works. Oh, she was getting in touch with us.
She says She said she does need to commute into town. Sorry, Jenny. Jenny 8675309. Get on the tube. That's a statement of the week. The Car-Boyz say, use the tube.
Oh dear, that's not good, is it?
I'm afraid so. Should we have some more music? It's quiz time.
Yay!
Thank you. Welcome to the quiz. Okay. All right. Shut up. Go on, a little bit more. A little bit more. That's all right. Big audience.
So Bruce Forsyth.
Big audience in tonight. This week's big quiz is called Down the Boozer. Now, we all like a drink or three, and that's, of course, unless you're a follower of the Prophet. Peace be upon him. Then I guess it's just a lemonade for you. But I digress. Most of us like drinking excessively in pubs. And what would pubs be without good old pub quizzes? Well, they'd be bars, and that's far too American. Well, anyway, what goes great with a drink and a packet of crisps? What, a fight in a car park, you say? No, not that, but a good old-fashioned pub quiz. Yes. They're usually far too long, boring and repetitive. Well, not this one. It's going to be like my sex life. Short, sweet, and to the point. Joining me this week on the show is a young man who's come all the way down from North London town, and he's hoping to win his weight in pork scratching and pies tonight, and he could be walking off. Here he is. Well, crap, I've gone crazy. He could be walking off with his weight in pork scratching, his pockets full of Bombay mix. You'll never get those pockets clean again. Simon, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Would you like to say hi to anybody?
Hi, I'd like to say hi to my mum and dad and anyone that knows me.
Thank you for conceiving me. Yeah, well done, Mum and Dad. Well done. Yeah. Anyway, right. Are we ready for the show? I'm going to be keeping count here. And points don't make prizes. Correct answers do. Right.
Okay.
Which question one? Which is the which slogan? Okay. The slogan for which auto brand is the best or nothing? The best or nothing. I'd never heard of this.
The best or nothing.
The best or nothing.
I'm trying to think of countries, dictatorships that have cars.
Oh yeah, you're right with dictatorships. This country has a long history of dictatorships.
The best or nothing, so it must be possibly Italy. No, I'm going to go with Spain.
Further, no, north and colder.
Ooh, best or nothing. I will go with Saab then. I don't know.
No, too far north, you fool. You fool. Of course, the answer was Mercedes-Benz, best or nothing.
Really?
They were thinking work will set you free, but that had already been... It didn't have a very good history of it.
Yes.
So yes, I've never heard of this. The best... It's the best or nothing. From Mercedes-Benz. All I can now think of is Dr. Strangelove. Yes, mine hair. Yes, Major. Okay, moving on to question 2. Which weekly automobile magazine refers to itself as the world's oldest car magazine? That, of course, would be the Oldest Car Magazine.
Oh, oldest car. I'm guessing it's something like. I'm going to take a punt at Autocar.
Yay! It was indeed Autocar. No, not sure how old it is, but it's really old. Okay, which car brand produced the V12 powered Aventador and the V10 powered Huracan?
Oh, I'm going to go with Lamborghini on that one.
Lamborghini. You were correct again. It was Lamborghini, because the famous manufacturer that started off making tractors, not unlike Aston Martin. In 1971, the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow two-door models were given what name? The Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow two-door, usually with a soft top, were given what name? I can give you a clue.
They're not nicknames, are they? They're actual model names.
It's an actual model name.
Were they the Silver Spurs?
No.
Ooh.
Think of it. My favourite foods, lunchtime foods, comes from a southern part, a county right at the end of England.
Cornishes.
The Cornish, yes, like the Cornish
pasty, yes.
Yes, well done.
I was thinking sausage roll. Surely not. There's not a sausage roll one.
Not at all. Okay. Right, question. Okay, here we go. We're moving on there. So you've got three. Not so bad, cool. Not so bad. Still in the chance. Within your body weight, full of Bombay mix. Okay, here we go. The Beetle was the best-selling vehicle of all time in the late 1990s. But in the late 1990s, it was overtaken by which car? Which car became the best-selling car? Previously, it was held by the Beetle until the late 1990s.
I think it's possibly one of the dullest cars of all time. I think it is the Toyota Corolla.
Correct.
My Corolla.
Yeah, my Corona. My coronavirus. 1971. No, we've done that one. What name was given to the most famous 1969 Dodge Charger driven in a television series?
Oh, was that the
1969 Dodge Charger? You got to be careful here.
Wasn't that the General Lee?
Yay! I thought you were going to go for Starsky and Hutch, which I think was the
Gran Torino. Ford Gran Torino.
Well done. Okay. Complete the title of the 60s sitcom, Car 54.
Where are you?
Yay! I think that's starring Herman Munster. Sorry, I've got... No, I'm okay for coffee, thanks. Or tea.
Oh, that's good.
Are you going to make me tea? I'll have a cup of coffee, please, kids. Hang on, let me give you the cup. Can you close the door? Because I'm sort of podcasting. You've had children. I hope you haven't had children. You're related to each other, and one of you's 4 and the other one's 6. Okay, take the kids with you. Okay, thank you. Yeah. You can
I
see
think
I'm doing childcare as well as trying to do a competition.
I think every quiz should have a tea break in the middle.
Yeah, a tea break. Well, apparently I'm being made tea. Let's see what comes of that. Question 8. What informal name is given to the specifically designed vehicles used by the Pope during outdoor public appearances?
The Pope-mobile?
The Popemobiles is correct.
Yay!
Yes, we're up to 8. 8 right so far out of 10 or something. Okay, in which European city is the Volvo Group headquarters? In which European city is the Volvo Group headquarters?
Oh, it's got to be in Sweden, but
Yes.
I don't think it's going to be Stockholm because that would be too obvious. It was probably somewhere like Malmo.
I knew you were going to go for that. The other one.
Which one?
The other city. Not
Stockholm.
No, the other one. Gothenburg.
Oh, of course.
Sorry about that. So hang on, so I'm on all this, so you didn't get that one right. Right.
No.
Moving on. Question 10. What was the top-selling car in the UK in 2016?
Top-selling car. I would go with the Ford Fiesta.
Got that right. We're back on track. 8 out of
Something.
10. Something. Who appeared in the Top Gear series alongside Richard Hammond and Jeremy Clarkson from 2003 to 2015 and sort of looks like a spaniel?
James May.
James May, correct. What flag is waved at the start of the 24-hour Le Mans race? Not the one you would think of, but if I say the Le Mans race, that might give you a clue.
I will guess it's the tricolor.
Yes, the French flag.
French flag.
Yes, they were going to wave
with some wine and some baguettes.
The Italian flag, but that, of course, is a white cross and a white background. Woo! Moving on swiftly. It's not racist, and they're the same colour as me. Okay, the Land Rover Discovery is a mid-size SUV. What does the abbreviation of the SUV stand for?
Sport utility
vehicle. Yay! And finally, which 22-mile-long M50 motorway is often referred to the Ross what? A 22-mile-long M50 motorway, I'd never heard of this, is often referred to as the Ross what? Not the Ross Kemp.
I'm trying to think of other famous Rosses. The Ross...
Not the Ross on Y either.
Or the Ross clock. It's the... it's...
you should get this, because they're your favourite football team.
The Ross Spur?
Yay! I'm glad you didn't say the Ross Tottenham. It was the Ross Spur. Well done. Totting up your score. I've sort of lost count, but I think you got about 9 out of 14. Yay! Well done, young man. Yeah, you're walking off.
Can't wait for my Bombay mix.
Yeah, but your Bombay mix is on its way to you. You've got at least 300 weight of Bombay mix. Pock scratchings, some walled beer, and in the invitation to a pub fight in a car park of your choosing. So that's about it from us on the show this week. You can email the Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com, and we'll endeavour to answer your questions, be they car-related or not. Car-Boys at outlook.com. Facebook, we're Car-Boys at Car-Boys with 4 Zs at the end. On Twitter, we are Car-Boys at car_boys. And on Instagram...
on Car-Boys with 3 Zs.
Brilliant stuff. I better go because obviously some coffee is being made by a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. So I'm slightly disconcerted about this. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will catch you next time on the show. That's all about cars on your radio. Car-Boys. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.